tell everybody who you are.
I'm Brian Armstrong. This is my wife, Melissa Armstrong, and these are our two boys. This is Dakota, and this is
Dalton.
And how old are your boys?
Dakota is almost 10, and Dalton is 7.5.
If you ask him, he turns 10 next Tuesday, so don't ask him what he wants, because he'll start going up on Legos.
Okay. So tell us your story.
I was vaccine injured by the Hep B vaccine when I was serving in the Oklahoma Air National Guard. We didn't really pick up on it until Brian and I started talking about his vaccine injury with anthrax and Hep B from when he served in Iraqi Freedom. A little more complexity to that. My dad also served in Vietnam, was exposed to Agent Orange, and that there was a little more complex issue there. I have symptoms of many different autoimmune disorders, and it's caused a lot of pain. Majority of what I'm dealing with is fibromyalgia and inflammatory arthritis.
And cognitive issues.
Yeah.
Cognitive issues have been one of the most troubling, and that's the ones that have struggled most to get over. You know, we've
cognitive functioning is difficult. Trying to recall things to say, and trying to be on our feet about talking, especially in front of a camera.
So did you speak to the military doctors there about what had happened to you?
We actually didn't discover it until after I had filed my VA claim, which was completely separate, and it's been our civilian doctors who've actually helped us navigate through what I've been dealing with.
Now, I will say this, though, that several of our civilian doctors were military doctors, and when we went and presented them with the evidence, at first they raised an eyebrow, and then by the time they got through, their jaws were on the floor, and they felt helpless and horrified. They didn't know how to help us. We've been able to do a lot to help ourselves a great deal by diet. We've dramatically changed our diet this year. That has helped reduce a lot of the inflammation that we've struggled with, because modern medicine has just failed us. Of course, because modern medicine is what caused the problem. These two have been in... Dakota's been in speech and occupational therapy since he was three.
Okay, so what's Dakota's story?
He was fully vaccinated up until he was 18 months old. There is a history of autism in my family, on my father's side, and he lost all speech
Following
the MMR. He was developing normally, and fortunately we had a pediatrician who was willing to halt all vaccinations until we got a formal diagnosis of an autism spectrum disorder when he was 4. He has been in speech and occupational therapy since he was 3 years old. He recently graduated out of speech therapy, but is continuing to
he's still
participate in occupational therapy.
Though he's improved enough that through that and through homeschooling, he's improved enough that he may soon graduate from occupational therapy, thank God. Dalton, it was similar story, except
I did more selective and delayed vaccines with him. He did not receive MMR. He did receive the Hep B vaccine, and he has an auditory and sensory processing disorder and mild dyslexia from the vaccines.
and which vaccines tripped him?
Hep B, DTaP.
Yeah. And he's been... His biggest problem has honestly been the dyslexia. Yeah.
And a severe expressive and receptive language delay.
Yeah. We have struggled to catch him up on, to try and bring him close to his peers with reading, but it's not that he doesn't want to. It's just that
It's a
he
struggle.
struggles a great deal, which is why we homeschool. And we've been
So what's
blessed to do that.
your message to people starting out with families that are really sitting on the fence with vaccines?
Just don't do it, and do your research if you're on the fence.
If you think your doctor is an expert in vaccines just because they studied immunology, immunology is just the study of the human immune system. It is not the study of how vaccines and how they work. The greatest advocate for your child is going to be you. Do your research. If you live in a state where you have lost your rights, consider moving for the sake of your children. And you know,
Your children belong to you. They do not belong to the state. God gave them to you to protect and to teach.
And
You're a little cutie, do you know that?
oh, he's a charmer.
Both of you. You as well. How are you feeling? Did you like going on the RV bus? Don't tell Andy and Dale. That's just between us. Did you like it? Yes? No. No. Interesting.
If you're a family first, or if you're a couple considering on starting a family, stop the vaccines yourself first, and then research what these things really do to your children, and take a stand. It doesn't matter what it costs you. I don't care if it costs you prison time. You only get your children once. They only have one childhood. I personally would rather, I'd rather they haul me off to jail if necessary, if it meant my children being healthy, healed. Fortunately, here in Oklahoma, we don't have to worry about that.
At least not yet.
And we will fight to make sure that we continue to not have to worry about that. But fight like crazy. Use food and nutrition, and good food and nutrition. It does more to heal your body, and to, if your kids are already injured, to heal their bodies than you can possibly fathom.
What advice have you got for, we are hearing from young men and women in the military that have signed up having no idea that they have to be forced to have vaccines and psychotropic pills and all sorts of ghastly things we're hearing about. What do you say to those people in the military signed up and unable to get out right now?
Do what you can to keep yourself healthy and find nutritional supplements to keep as much damage away as possible, keep the inflammation away. That's the only thing that you can do at this point.
I mean, the reality is they are still court-martialing active duty military for refusing to take the ordered vaccines. They still believe you're government property. You're not. I don't care how many first sergeants and commanders tell you, well, you signed a contract, you're government property now. You're not. You still have the rights of an American citizen. You didn't give that up just because you swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution. The Constitution still defends you. Consider your future. Is even 20 years in the military worth a lifetime of illness, of pain beyond your wildest imagination, of passing it down to your children, of not even being able to get down on the floor and play with your children, of watching your children struggle for decisions that you thought you were powerless to make?
Also, if you're in the delayed enlistment program, it's not too late to get out. You can go into your recruiter's office and say, hey, I changed my mind. At least I know that's what was available several years ago.
There are more of us veterans who are awake now, who will support you and who will have your back. It may cost you your military career, but you will save your life. And once you get out, we'll help you. You are fighting against something. If you're already in, you're fighting against something you're not going to beat. You just have to make the choice of whether or not it's going to beat you. And I don't envy you.
We just want to thank you both very much, and people are thanking you for your service.
Thank you.
Here in America.
Thank you.
And
It's our pleasure.
Sharing your story and your absolutely beautiful children.
Thank you.
So you boys going to sign the bus? And Mama too. In fact, you all are going to sign the bus, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll get you over there.